having a look at this Philips 50-inch today. I'm not sure if it's a smart TV. It's not got the ambilights at the back. I will show you the model number. I will zoom in on the label using that other camera, which is zoomed in quite well and given us a clear indication of what it is, a 50PUT 6400-12. Note to self, customer has brought in the remote control, also the power lead. We need the remote control because it could be connected to the fault. They said the remote control stopped working one day, then the next day the TV just didn't come on. Now, I've asked them if it's got a standby light. They have said no. But sometimes they're a bit difficult to spot. So this could simply be a faulty remote control, and then the next day the TV didn't turn on. It could be just batteries. We've had it before. But now we've seen the model number, let's just plug the TV in and see if we can get it to do what they got it to do. Or rather, probably what they didn't get it to do. First, they're going to take the stand off. That's going to help. Then we're going to take off the remote control, which they've taped to the back. Could have been worse. They could have taped it to the front. I'll test the remote control now with my remote control tester. That seems to be okay. Let's see if it has got a standby light. I'm thinking that the standby light is the Philips logo lighting up, isn't it? Wasn't it? Let me turn some lights off. Make it go dark. It is actually, what is it, 2 o'clock in the afternoon? No, it's, yeah, bang on, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's still light outside. Let's switch some power on. Nothing lighting up there, is there? No. And once again, as you may noticed, the on-off switch on the remote is working fine. I've got a good idea what this could be if it wasn't for the fact that they said the remote control stopped working one night and then the TV didn't work the next. The fact that it's completely dead leads me to believe that it's a diode on the power supply, which is quite common on Philips. Be nice if it is just that, and maybe the remote control thing is just a blip. Could be. We're going to have to take the back off. Just remember when taking the back off, not to yank. You've got all the screws out, but there's going to be wires and connections, usually about here, that connect to the main board, and you may have to disconnect them. But not on this model. So first things first, let's concentrate on the power supply. There it is. Have a closer look. That's the screen, just in case you want the model number. But this is what we're going to be looking at today. It may not be a power supply issue. That's the model of the power supply at the top, the 715G. So I'm just going to put my glasses on and have a good look around the board and see if there's anything that we can see. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. If it is a diode, as per usual, never noticeable on the front because the diode is actually on the back. We'll have to unscrew the power supply, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So I'm going to inspect the power board from top to bottom, just to see if I can see any blown caps. And when I say caps, I don't mean electrolytic caps. I mean our little ceramic job is there, the blue one in the middle. The blue one's up here. Sometimes they can go pop. And take the fuse out. Fuse, of course, is down there, so let me test it. If it is what I initially suspected, the diode, then the fuse wouldn't have blown, but let's just test first anyway, see if we can find anything else on the top end of the board first. There was still a bit of power in that. So that means there's going to be some power in the reservoir caps. Let me just test. Maybe not. They're supposed to do that, the diodes. Don't worry, it's supposed to bleep their diodes. Okay, at the moment it's possibly looking like that diode on the back, so let's have a look. That was the fault. It's the 3 amp Schottky diode, I think. Maybe 5 amp, but anyway, may not be. Again, judging by the fact they lost the remote control beforehand, we could still have a mainboard problem, but let's just test this for continuity. And it's gone. Hopefully it may just be that. Could be their lucky day. Before I take it out, I'd like to get a reading on camera. I'd like to find out what numbers are on this diode. It will help. That's it, probably solved it. 9 times out of 10 on these power supplies, it is just that Schottky diode that goes, and I've replaced it with a slightly better quality one. Who said that? I don't know. I did just now. Anyway, let's just plug it in, get the TV back up and running, and get it back to the customer. It's that simple, isn't it? I'm still not sure if that Philips thing is supposed to light up. Maybe it is. Now, normally 9 times out of 10 when I'm repairing power supplies, I plug it into the variac and I will bring the variac up gradually, starting at 50 volts until I get to about 200 volts, 180 volts, and that's normally okay. But on this occasion, I just decided to switch it on, full blast, 230 of your finish English volts, stare at the Philips logo, but it's not lighting up. I don't see anything happening. And as soon as I switched on the variac and gave the full voltage, there was a funny noise. Didn't like that. Well, I don't know if you heard that or not, but my amp meter went right to the top and blew the fuse. It's blown the fuse in the plug. Didn't trip anything out. So we've got a short on this board as well. So I've got to go looking for a short. May have taken that diode out, it may not. We'll go and see. No. Okay, the diode's still alive, which is good. So we repaired half of the board. We need to repair the other half. Okay, this is not the board from out of the TV. This is a board from out of a similar TV from out of Philips. You can tell because, look, it's got a slightly different model number at the top. When I was doing my tests right at the beginning, I didn't test the FET. And this is the main FET here. and it had gone short, and I didn't notice it. So it's fine from drain to collector, but t'other way around, it's completely short. So maybe this diode had got, maybe this board had got a couple of faults. But as I say, I didn't test that earlier. So what I now need to do, and what I have done, because of course that's the fault effect, but I've taken a good one off this board here, which is an exact match, and I'm sticking it in this TV here, and then we'll plug in the TV, and hopefully now that should be enough. It's a bit of a coincidence that it's a diode and a FET, but these things happen from time to time. The only other thing that's bugging me, of course, is the customer saying before the set died they couldn't use their remote control. I'm hoping that's user error. Okay, just going to turn the Variac back up again, and we may get a Philips logo, we may not. Oh, it is a smart one. It's an Android one. Okay, I didn't realise that. I thought it was an old standard, no, not standard definition, but I didn't think it was a smart TV. Oh, of course I knew it was a smart TV. I saw the Wi-Fi card inside. I just didn't put 10 and 10 together. Right, just a power supply issue. Oh, I've got to test the remote control, haven't I? That is weird. Okay, brought another Philips remote control in. Again, it works. But it don't switch the TV off. So it's probably just as well I haven't put the back on and screwed it all back together, even though I had forgot about this remote control issue, because I was believing that to be either low batteries or user error, and it wasn't. So I've now got to go and sort out what is causing the problem with the remote control sensor. I mean, that could be main board, could be the sensor itself, could be other things. This is the IR. I'll say that again, possibly. This is the IR sensor that I've just taken out. There are two shorted caps. It's probably only one that's shorted, but which one? They're quite small, but they're in there. You can just see the two caps here. Look, there's a resistor at the bottom, which is R202. Then above it, C204, C205. I'm taking a punt and taking out C204 first. See what happens. In fact, you can see it just there. Look, hanging on. Let's just plug this back in and see if it goes on and off. I can see a flashing red light now, which I didn't see before, but I still not able to turn it off. Well, actually, there's a reason for that, and that's what that red light is there for, even though I didn't know this at the time. But the red light is just explaining that the TV is booting up. So the infrared sensor, you won't be able to use it until it's gone through its initial checks, which is, of course, bringing up the Android logo and the other stuff. As soon as the Android logo is finished, the red light will go off, and then... Oh, I am able to turn it off. Maybe you have to wait for it to go through its cycle. Let me try again. Yes, comes on. Okay. So it was that shorted cap. Off. Not too sure what that red light is for. Maybe it comes on when somebody's stolen a capacitor. Back on. Right, it's now working again. Okay. I'm not going to replace the capacitor. Time to put the TV back together again. Actually, it's time for a coffee and walk the dog. I'll come back and finish this off tonight. Or tomorrow. Okay, let's bring the power up slowly on my Variac, which is the device, the red device on the right-hand side. I turn the voltage down to 0 and then turn it up gradually. Next to that, of course, is my isolation transformer and my hoppy, and also my amp meter I've just pointed out there. So anyway, let's just turn the voltage up gradually to about 200, 190 volts. And the logo comes on, so it looks like the TV is going to boot up. Okay, and there is the logo, yes. That's the most excited you'll hear me get for a long time. But this has been 3 faults. Of course, it was the diode, and it was the FET, and then it was the capacitor on the IR sensor. And as we mentioned earlier, the remote control won't do anything at the moment while it's in its boot up cycle, so you have to let it get through to the Android bit, and then the remote control will work, hopefully. Well, I'm going to test it. Of course, the remote control was faulty. Obviously, the customer didn't try and switch it off during the Android. They couldn't switch it on or off on the last day. So that capacitor was stopping that. So I just want to do a final check on this. We can see in the bottom right-hand corner, it says no signal. Oh, I thought we could see it. Let's just bring that camera down a little bit more. I push it down and it forces itself to go up. Anyway, turn it off. Does it? Yes. Let's just have a look what it's drawing at the moment. It's in its standby state, 212 volts, currently 12 watts, well, 13 watts, shall we say, in standby, 160 milliamps, and I think it's going to be fine. It was a lengthy one doing this. Obviously, when I edit these down to 20 minutes, but it was several hours. I would say about 3.5 hours put into this one, but it's working. Unfortunately, some of the foil has come off the bottom, which the customer has left on from new. I will stick that back on and let the customer have it back. 3 faults, but now working.